When the update came out a few days ago, it may only have looked like there were minor changes to cache, but I've learned that when it comes to FMPone's maps, there's no such thing as minor changes. Hence this separate video on it, to give me time to do the research required. He posts patch notes of the main changes, but I imagine he always has the map loaded on his PC and is forever making minor adjustments to it, most of which I suspect he forgets or doesn't bother to include in the patch notes when it comes to actually updating the map on the workshop. You'll see in these comparison shots that, while nothing major has happened, so many small things have changed. Like how he bothered to add a few more bricks to this wall here. Nobody else in the world would have thought of that. With this latest update to cache, I think the bit that most people will care about is the optimizations. Being the slowest running map to be featured in the game, any boosts are welcome. But by how much has it improved? In total, I've tested 4 different versions of the new cache, the most recent yielding the highest frame rates across all parts of the map. If you're CPU limited, then your frame rates will on average be about 4% higher after this update. If you are GPU limited, 5%. That's not bad on its own, and since the pre-release version, the map's average frame rate will have improved by as much as 11%. All those small tweaks add up. Best of all, it's the slowest spots of the map that have improved the most. In this update alone, this view from A down to middle improved by 14%. This view at T-spawn by 8%, and the mid-courtyard and corridors leading towards B by anywhere between 5 and 10%. If you were struggling with this map before, then the bits you were struggling with are the bits that have improved the most. But the map still runs a lot more slowly than the old cache, and Nuke and Dust 2. This is using just the 2200G at low settings at 720p. It doesn't look very nice, but it does at least run smoothly. Moving up to 1080p, highest settings with FXAA, the new update edges it closer to being on the right side of 60 FPS. On this system, Dust 2 is closer to 70, you get almost 80 on Nuke, and 90ish on the old cache. To be fair, I don't know if any of these are fast enough to be competitively viable, especially since the frame rates will drop further once other players and grenades are thrown into the mix. But it shows that the new cache remains the most demanding of the maps in Counter-Strike. You'd probably get away with it if you were to lower the settings, the resolution, or both. There's a reason I used the Ryzen 2200G to test this. This is the cheapest and slowest new system that you can get that I'd consider to be a gaming rig. It would have been considered high-end about 10 years ago. As it costs well under £100 for the CPU and GPU combined, there's no good excuse to be gaming on something slower than this in 2019, though I'm sure I'll see some people showing off about their 15-year-old laptop in the comments section. But even this lowly 2200G rig managed more than 200 FPS on average on the new cache at 720p low settings. Chuck a 7-year-old GeForce 670 graphics card in, and you'll be able to game at 169 FPS average at 1080p, high settings. It can even manage 116 FPS at 1440p. So that's nice. I noticed a lot of the decals have been removed or toned down. Small tufts of grass and some of the foliage has been taken away as well. This roof near A has been raised. The other one near A has been extended. I'm sad to see the panels on the top of this one simplified, but I don't think I would have noticed were it not for this comparison. Surfaces have generally been brightened with the removal of the green ivy. And the weapon cache at A has been boarded up with a much simpler looking wooden panel. As well as this, there are general improvements to the clipping around the map. You can't lose a weapon down the window in Squeaky anymore. The clipping around the mid window has changed, though you're able to bash your head on it and stand on top of it before and after this update. In fact, this has almost been encouraged by how he's raised the height of the clip brush. Previously when up here you had to crouch. The grenade clipping around the mid boost has also changed. A large box clip used to predictably bounce grenades thrown against the tarpaulin bit, but now your grenades are at the mercy of whatever angle the surface is that they hit. And there are only so many ways that I could describe clip rushes, so have some nice music and look at all these for yourselves. In terms of gameplay changes, bombsite A has been extended ever so slightly towards the wall. You could almost plant there before, but not quite. But now you can. Forklift's model and hitboxes have been lowered so you can jump onto it without having to crouch. In fact, you can climb all the way from ground level to catwalk without needing to crouch jump even once. ALJN pointed out a lot of things over on Cash's workshop page, but got credit for a pixel boost at bombsite A, just here, which has been patched up for this update. Moving into A main, this crate stack has shrunk. A crouch jump is still required to climb on top of it, but it should at least be a bit easier to do now. There was a bad collision mesh that was fixed in Z, and apparently you used to be able to get stuck on the ladder. I couldn't recreate this, though rather bizarrely, since the update you can now climb up the wrong side of it. In bombsite B, this stack of shells is shifted across and down a bit. There was a pixel gap beneath it before that could have been used to see the feet of players hidden behind it on the site. And the bomb used to fall through the B ramp displacement. This is a common problem with the source engine. I saw that several of them had been remade on the site. Or maybe it's referring to this ramp, which now has a clip brush underneath it. All I know is, valve please fix. And we'll end this video with some more comparisons I made before and after this update. If you look closely, you'll spot a slightly shifted stack of bin bags, more contrast on some of the wall textures, about 5% less green stuff, and a bit of the inner spoke of the Ferris wheel has fallen off. Oh, and vents have been brightened.